And welcome back. This is your man Warrior. This is another patron roster review, and this is Scorpius from Darkness Will Reign. Now, what I love is this is a free-to-play account that's been open for a little over 2 years, but the team he's running, I ran this for the last few months in Arena, and it is a Revan killer, a Malak killer, and can compete with virtually anything except for the the gas teams. Now, the gas teams obviously are going to be a little bit better than this team, but these are a lot of the players you need to get gas, so it's going to be a win-win regardless for Scorpius. Now, he wanted to know a little bit about, was he modding his team correctly, characters, relics, things like that. So we'll go into that a little bit. I want to keep him hyper-focused because he's free to play, so we're only going to talk about 4 teams that he should really focus on, and he'll have to determine kind of the priority list, but I'll give him my ideas for priorities, and then we'll talk about that. Now, the modding, I went over a lot of your characters, and you have a really great idea on modding. You know, like Shaak Ti should be fast, Rex should be probably the fastest. You did that. Jedi Knight Anakin and Echo need to be high damage dealers, which you did that. Fives, I really do suggest, though, instead of the offense like you put on him, to really focus on more protection. The reason is you want him to protect the whole team. He's eventually going to die anyway. He does shoot a lot, and I get your point with offense is to try and have him do as much counter damage as possible, but he's not really in the fight long enough for that to matter, so the protection kind of goes a little bit further than the offense does in Arena. So that, as far as the modding on the Arena team, pretty good. Just I would focus more on protection than offense for him for Arena. The other thing is you've got a lot of other characters. Just if you have questions about a specific character's mods, remember you can go and look at my modding at any time. You can go check it out. And most of my characters are modded solidly. I wouldn't say that they're all perfect, but they're all at least with the right idea. But you can also hit me up on that. Now, aside from that, we have some teams you want to focus on. The 4 big teams we're going to talk about, and I'm going to mention them, and then we'll kind of talk about where I feel like you should focus. We're going to talk about the Separatist Droids. We're going to talk about Galactic Republic. We're going to talk about your Geonosians, your Geos, and your Old Republic for Darth Revan / your Sith Empire. Now, the first 2 that I would focus on together, kind of one passively and one actively, would be Galactic Republic and Geos. Let's go look at your Galactic Republic. So your Galactic Republic looks great. Jedi Knight Anakin's already in relics. Yoda's in relics. And by the way, you really want to think of relics in the odd 1, 3, 5, or 7. That's really where you want to go. So Anakin at 5 is fine. Yoda, I would take at least to relic tier 3. And then when you get a chance, you could then take him up to 5. But for now, maybe relic tier 3 would be a good staging point. So inside of Galactic Republic, I mean, you're almost there. You've got Echo and Fives and Ahsoka and General Kenobi and Rex and C-3PO. You've got Shaak Ti and Barriss and Padme and almost all of the Zetas. So this team is almost there. Really what it's about is getting those last couple of pieces to get Padme Gear 12, Shaak Ti Gear 12, and just kind of keep developing this team. This Galactic Republic team is going to be usable in every single facet of the game, from the GOTB that's upcoming to previous GOTBs to Territory Wars to Grand Arena. You can use this on both offense. You've got a defensive team in here as well, but multiple offensive teams. And Galactic Republic is also great when you move over into ships. You've got a lot of ships that you can use, like the Negotiator, which I'm going to recommend because you already have a General, Kenobi at Gear 12 with his Zeta. So this looks really, really good. You're almost there, but I would continue to go. It's really hard to get this far and then just give up and move to some other faction when you're this close. If it was me, I would just continue to hyper-focus Galactic Republic. But passively, I would continue to work on Geos. Now, your Geos are sufficient where they're at as far as both for ships right now and also for using this as like an offensive or defensive team. In fact, on defense, it's a great defensive team, exactly how it is. But when you see things are glowing and you're able to get Spy to Gear 11 or, get Brood Alpha a little higher, you definitely want to take them to 7 stars as well. Get Soldier finished off. Soldier is one of the easiest farms in the game, so bust the rest of him out. Get him to 7 stars. But these characters do not take higher priority than Galactic Republic on gear, but they're definitely characters you're going to want to take to at least, at a minimum for now, all Gear 11 7-star with maxed out abilities. that's the minimum I would suggest. So Sunfac, Poggle, are looking pretty good, but Spy, you got to get higher in gear. Soldier, get the last star, and Brood Alpha, you've got to finish gearing him to at least gear 11. And I really recommend getting him to gear 12 when you can. Now, 11 to 12 is very difficult with the Brood Alpha. I'm still stuck on him, and I've been focused on him for over 4 months on my Scissorman account. So that's why I say this will be a passive team, meaning that when you happen to have something glowing on them and you don't necessarily need that gear for someone else in Galactic Republic, then pop it on them. And you're going to get a lot of gear from a lot of different places in the game. And once you get that gear, you definitely want to be looking at your geos every time you get new pieces of gear to see, is there something you can do development wise for this team? Now, after you've got your Galactic Republic, all gear 12 and a couple more popped over possibly to gear 13, and your geos are kind of passively getting a little bit higher, the second priority is going to be Old Republic. Now, your Old Republic look pretty good for light side. For your, Mission, Zalbar, Revan, Basti, Jolie, they're looking pretty good. You're going to have to eventually take up, Mission a little bit higher and Zalbar a little higher if you want to get Malik. And I would like to think that's something on your radar. So you would want to continue to passively, when something's glowing on, Zalbar or Mission, go ahead and throw that piece of gear on. The Zetas will really help. You can leave them at gear 11 as long as you have the Zetas. Canderous is going to have to go up to gear 12, which is an absolute nightmare. On my Scissorman account, I've been focused on that now for over 4 months, and I just finished him at gear 12. So that was a super focus. And then, of course, for Dark Side Revan, Darth Revan, you're going to need Karth and T3, or Karth and Juhani, and Canderous. So you're going to have a few more characters you're going to have to focus on. But really, Old Republic is important for Darth Revan. And Darth Revan is still like the second best team in the game outside of the gas team. So you definitely want to kind of focus on Darth Revan. Now, keeping in mind, Galactic Republic is going to be kind of the future for gas and for teams for territory wars, territory battles, and the new light side GOTB. So we're still trying to keep that focus on Galactic Republic, but you should not forget about Darth Revan. He's someone you're going to want for sure. So Old Republic is definitely going to be, once you kind of finish off Galactic Republic, because you're so close, you'll be passively working on geos, and then you're going to shift over to the Old Republic, and they should become your primary focus after Galactic Republic. Once they're your primary focus, you can then start to kind of have a secondary focus, and that should be your separatists, specifically separatist droids. We're talking about General Grievous, Magna Guard, B2, B1, Droidica, all the guys that you're going to need for, one, a good General Grievous team, and two, the other side, you're going to need to get gas down the road at some point. Now, for free to play, this isn't something you're going to probably even be done with for another 9 months to a year. I know that sounds like a long time out, but it's something you should still have on your radar. So Galactic Republic and Geos, Galactic Republic first priority, Geos passive, and then once you feel like your Galactic Republic are where they need to be, move into Old Republic for Darth Revan, and once your Geos are kind of where they need to be, start passively getting your Separatists. Once your Old Republic is where they need to be, then Separatists can become your number one priority. But I would say that right now, Darth Revan is more important than the droids. Even though the droids beat Darth Revan potentially, there is more usability and playability with Darth Revan teams in more areas of the game than this than the potential Suicide Squad you might be able to create with this team. But they will be needed for gas, so it should be. And I don't want to give you too much because these 4 teams are going to take a long time for free to play. Galactic Republic, again, you're almost there, but there's still that development at the high level is really hard. Your Geos still need some time, some work. Your Darth Revan, Old Republic need a lot of work, and your Sept droids need a ton of work. Let's go look at ships now. So are there going to be 2 sections of ships you should be focused on? The first is bounty hunters. So one, bounty hunters is really good. Houndstooth is amazing, and you're going to need this to get your Millennium Falcon. But bounty hunters is just kind of the next evolution for where you're at. IG-2000 is going to have future meta potential, so you definitely want to make sure that you continue to level that one up. But bounty hunters is going to be your next faction focus, so you can get the Millennium Falcon. And then because your Galactic Republic are so amazing, You will also want to focus on Galactic Republic ships. Now, your Anakin's ship is only 3 stars, but it's even at 3 stars very powerful. Ahsoka's good at 7 stars. Your Umbaran looks good. Plo Koon is kind of an MVP you're going to want to focus on. So the 2 that I would focus on here, and by the way, you wanted to know, whether you should go in like Negotiator or you should go after Malevolence. I personally would recommend the Negotiator. You're far closer to a nice defensible Negotiator team. Now, when the Y-Wing becomes farmable, I would definitely farm that. And your Sergeant's ship, I would finish off the Sergeant's the Clone Sergeant's ship to 7 stars, get his reinforcement maxed out, his abilities maxed out, and get Plo Koon. So those bottom 3 ships, your Y-Wing, when it becomes available, your Clone Sergeant's ship, and your Plo Koon ship, those 2 ships really right now you could focus on. But remember that your bounty hunters are going to come first priority as far as your farming. That doesn't take a ton of energy every day, though. Just throw the energy into those ship stars, try and get the ship stars up. Bounty hunters only need to be about gear 8, and they're mostly already there for you. So really it's just a matter of getting the ship's abilities and the stars up, and that is not as bad as like gearing a character. So eventually you'll want to focus on Plo Koon character, but for now you could focus on getting the ship's stars and leveling up the ship's abilities, and then when it comes time to play the character, you can bring the character up level to finish off the ship. But bounty hunters, and then of course I would probably be going for Negotiator as the next one and worrying about your Clone Sergeant and Plo Koon. And then you should be obviously farming the Anakin ETA's stars. Now that comes out of the ship nodes, so it's not the same place as Plo Koon's ship or Clone Sergeant's ship. Scorpius, overall, everything looks really, really good. For 2 years and free to play, you're doing awesome. The arena team you're using should easily get you into top 50 once you finish it off. Obviously, you're going to want to make sure that Shaak Ti is fast, Rex is fast, you have as much damage potential on Anakin and Echo, and then that 5s is just tanky as all ever. He does not have to be fast whatsoever. You just want him as brick house as possible. The Zetas look great. And then, of course, if you were going to, level anybody else into relics on this specific team, it would be Echo. Echo's damage is almost equivalent to Anakin's damage, and he's so powerful. Once he starts to get his offense stacking, he's very, very difficult for people to kill. But once you finish this off, it will also help you in all those other areas. So keep in mind, you're going to want to work on Galactic Republic because you're almost there. Finish them off. Work passively on your Geos, and then flow over from Galactic Republic into your Darth Revan Old Republic characters. Make sure you finish off those Old Republic characters for Darth Revan, and then all Old Republic characters for Malik. And then lastly, move into Separatist droids. They're going to help you with getting gas. They're the last part of that. And then for ships, bounty hunter ships are really, really important. You can work on the ships on the side, though. You really only need their star levels. Remember that. And then for the Negotiator, if you go for it, you're going to need to work on Plo Koon's ship, and your Anakin ETA needs to be starred up, and then the Clone Sergeant's ship as well. As always, if you have any ideas for Scorpius, leave them in the comments down below, and keep your gaming on. Warrior out.